Imagine you are designing a massive industrial steel building. Crane overhead, heavy equipment on the floor, wind hitting the structure from every direction. You open that design basis document and the rule book for that project, and you see that each structural component, let's say column, bracing, everything has certain slenderness limit and section classification table. Let's say for column, it's plastic, slenderness limit is 180, horizontal braces which has slenderness limit 250, and the equipment braces which has slenderness limit 120. And you think, why can't I just use one rule for everyone? See, if you have ever stared at a table like this and felt confused, this video is for you, because once you understand the logic behind these numbers, you will design smarter, safe structures, and you will never look at a steel section the same way again. First, two terms you must understand. The one is slenderness and second is compactness. Think of slenderness like this. So let's first understand slenderness. Think of slenderness like this. Take a plastic ruler, here I have steel ruler, hold it vertically and press down. What happens? See, it bends sideways, right? See, that's buckling. A very slender member, long and thin, does exactly that under that compression. See, it doesn't crush, it just gives way, sideways, suddenly without the warning, and that's a dangerous failure. So, slenderness is a ratio, essentially how long a member is compared to its cross-section size. Higher the number, more flexible and prone to buckling. Now let's discuss about compactness. See, this is about the walls of the steel section. Your I-beam has flanges and a web. See, if those plates are too thin and wide, they buckle locally before the whole section even gets a chance to yield. Like a cardboard box, it dents before it carries full load. See, IS 800 classifies sections into 4 classes: plastic, compact, semi-compact and slender. So let's understand importance of each one by one. First, plastic, the best one. See, the section can yield completely and rotate like a plastic hinge. Next is slender. See, it is the worst. It buckles before it even reaches the yield stress. Now, here is the big question. Why do different members in the same building need different limits? That's where it gets really interesting. So let's go through the table together. See, let's see here. Column, which we have to design in terms of plastic section. Slenderness limit is 180. See, the column is the spine of your structure. It carries gravity loads, bending from the wind and seismic forces. Everything come through here. See, if a column fails suddenly, the whole building can come down. So we demand the highest class, that is plastic, because we need it to form a plastic hinge and redistribute load before anything collapses. And slenderness 180 keeps it stiff enough to not buckle globally. No compromise here. Next, moment beams. It should be designed as plastic section where the slenderness limit is 180. See, these beams carry bending. They are specifically designed to form plastic hinges and redistribute moments in a portal frame. See, a semi-compact beam would buckle locally before reaching that hinge, and you will lose the entire moment redistribution that your design depends on. So again, it should be plastic section only. Now let's discuss shear beam. It can be plastic, compact or semi-compact, and the slenderness limit is 180. Now notice, the rule relaxed a little. Shear beams primarily transfers shear force, not bending. They are not required to form plastic hinges, so we allow semi-compact sections here. Some local buckling can be tolerated because the failure mode is more gradual and predictable. Then horizontal braces. Here, the slenderness limit may go up to 250. Why? Because braces in tension don't buckle. When wind hits from the left brace goes into tension. It gets tighter, not weaker. The right one takes compression and may buckle, but that's accepted. See, in brace design, so we allow higher slenderness, but we can't go beyond 250. Beyond that, vibration and lateral instability become a real problems. Then we have equipment braces. See, it can be plastic, compact, and the slenderness limit over here is 120. Very strict. Now we are back to being strict and stricter than columns on slenderness. Why? Because these braces support vibrating equipments, pumps, compressor, or fans. Here the dynamic loads comes in picture. See, if the brace is too flexible, it resonates with the machine, and the resonance in steel structure is not just a serviceability problem. It can lead to fatigue failure over time. So stiffness here is life safety. Next is vertical braces. Here, if it's a main frame, so it can be plastic only, and the slenderness limit over here is 120. See, this is your lateral load resisting system, the thing that stops your building from swaying under earthquake or wind load. See, it must stay stiff, must stay ductile, must absorb energy through yielding and not buckling suddenly. Clause 12.8.2.2 of IS 800 governs this specifically, so no relaxation allowed here. Next is vertical braces. So it can be semi-compact or compact. Here the slenderness limit is 120. See, these are secondary braces, not part of the critical seismic path. So we allow a little bit more flexibility in compactness, but slenderness stays at 120 because all vertical braces face compression risk, and we cannot afford buckling there regardless of criticality. So what's the pattern here? What's the design philosophy behind all of this? So it comes to the one idea: match the criteria to the demand. See, every structural member has a job. A column's job is to carry axial load and bend with ductility. A brace job is to carry axial tension and compression for lateral stability. And a shear beam's job is to just transfer shear. The design criteria must reflect what we are actually asking each member to do as a structural member in structure design, and on site it should perform exactly in the same manner. So if you apply plastic class requirements to every single member, you are over designing. Heavier sections, more steel, more cost, no added safety, and that's a wasteful engineering. So if you relax criteria for the wrong members, your column buckles before forming a hinge, your equipment brace resonates, your lateral system collapses under seismic load, and that's the dangerous engineering. So basically, the design basis document, whether it's following IS 800, AISC or Eurocode, is essentially saying here is the minimum acceptable behavior for each element based on or in the structural analysis. And often project specific design basis go stricter than IS 800 minimums because of seismic zones, fatigue from cranes, vibration from equipment, or simply the client's safety philosophy. That's not over engineering, that's responsible engineering. So as a beginner structural engineer, here is what I want you to take away from this. Never apply one size fits all thinking to structural design. See, each member is specialist, design it like one. See, the structures that stands for decades like bridges, industrial plants, stadiums, see, they stand because engineers thought carefully about exactly these details, not just the big loads, the classification, the slenderness, the compactness, the small things that prevents catastrophic failure modes. And here is the summary table you can check out for each component, and you can remember this as well. See, if someone asks you for the steel structural design philosophy, you can explain this as well, and this can be asked in an interview too. Alright, that was all about typical steel structure design philosophy breakdown for you. So if this video helped you, hit that like button. See, it genuinely helps other engineers to find this content. And if you are preparing for your first steel structure project or studying IS 800, subscribe, because In the further upcoming videos, we are going to deep down more into such interesting topics. Drop your questions in the comments. I read every one of them. And if you want the full design basis specification that we have covered over here, I am attaching the link in the description box. Until next time, design safe, design smart, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, remember, don't just learn software, learn concepts. Thank you.